everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 138. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Book Insight Friday. I'm delving into a new series. It's called A Woman's Worth. And the series consists of talking about women's issues. So for Book Insight Friday, for the next 6 weeks, I will be discussing each book that I wrote in this series. All 6 books are available on all major bookstores except Amazon, and for business purposes and reasons that I still haven't really gotten to discussing, but somewhere along the lines I'll do a podcast on that and explain to you why Amazon is just not the move and it's not the platform. Granted, it's 80% of the market. I don't care. I really don't care to get rich off of a company that just does not do things the right way. But anyway, moving along, Woman's Worth. The goal was for it to be a 12-book series, but the world kind of shifted me in a direction where I needed to go back to discussing more men's issues that are going on. So I had to go beyond the Struggles and Growth of a Man series, which was a 5-book series, and I had to immerse myself into men's issues also, because of all of the content that I see on social media and all the things that men are going through in the world, and basically a lot of things that I've gone through in life. But that will be something that I'll delve into that series probably later on this year. But anyway, so starting the book series of A Woman's Worth 1, as I said, I'm tackling women's issues, and the first topic in the first book, it's postpartum depression. Now, the crazy thing is I didn't know what it was until I started seeing it being discussed among women on social media, which was Twitter and Instagram, etc. And it wasn't until I saw this where I needed to look deeper into it. And when I started to read different articles on postpartum depression, I realized how serious it is, and how so many women deal with this, and how there aren't enough outlets for these stories to be shared. And it was only right that I write a book about this to bring more discussion to this. And, for me, who tries to be aware of what's going on around us, to not know about this, well, it was concerning to me. I was disappointed in myself for not taking the time to learn about this. And, domestic violence, well, that's a well-known social issue, but why isn't postpartum depression being talked about, right? And then, not too long after me writing the book on the hit TV show 911 on Fox, Jennifer Love Hewitt plays, a character named Maddie, and she's dating someone in the fire department chimney, and they're together and things of that nature, and they end up having a beautiful daughter on the show. And then she started to deal with postpartum depression, and she started dealing with a whole lot of other issues, and she ended up leaving the baby with Chimney, the father, and she kind of went back to her old roots and went and got all of the treatment that she needed. But she kind of went out on a limb and just kind of disappeared. But for a few weeks of that time frame, it was something that was kind of discussed on the show for I think 2-3 weeks, and then Jennifer Love Hewitt was actually pregnant while she was filming the show, so she ended up being off for a few weeks so she can tend to her newborn child, things of that nature. And then when she came back and the storyline continued, that's when Chimney went on a road trip to try to find Maddie, and it was a big thing. But the beauty of it was that you got to really see it in general. But that was pretty much after I wrote this book. And these are the stories that need to be told. And for me to write, a fictional story with a fictional character, it was fulfilling to me, obviously. And Brenda is the main character, and she was someone who was so excited to be pregnant, having her first child with her husband, and planning a life as a mother. And, after her having her newborn, she starts to experience the postpartum depression, and it affects her mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Those are your top four that allow you to live the life that you need to live. You need to have balance in all four. And, to start the series with this type of content, it was great for me. And as a male author, I'm proud to have written, a book series that, impacts, us as a society. It doesn't just impact women, it impacts men too, because a woman who's dealing with this and she's, in a relationship, or she's married, or whatever the case is, or even, if she has, another partner or a partner, whatever it is, whether it's a man or a woman, she's dealing with these things. And postpartum depression doesn't necessarily happen after, after a pregnancy. It can happen during a pregnancy. It can also happen to men also. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. And statistically, 1 in 9 women deal with this, after having a child. And it was like crazy, to see all of the stuff that I saw, on Twitter, and to see it being posted on Instagram. And it's great that women are doing, that, but there needs to be more awareness of this. And the crazy part is a lot of men probably don't know about this until it happens to their significant other that they're with, whether they're in a relationship, married, whatever the case is, or partnership, and for me, I'm glad to have learned about it. And I went through plenty of reading articles and hearing stories and things like that before I immersed myself into writing about a book like this, because it's important for me to know what I'm writing about and to really be able to craft a story that sounds right, it makes sense, it impacts people, it also shares information, and it also allows you to learn about what's going on around us on a daily basis. Because honestly, a lot of people, don't know a lot of these things. For me, I'm finding out about this in my late 30s. The irony, right? I, immerse myself in so many other things that are going on around the world on a daily basis, and seeing things and all the evil that's going on, and, anything you can name. And then I'm learning about postpartum depression in my late 30s. So I'm like, okay, well, learning curve. And I'm always willing to have an open mind to learning about new things. And, Brenda was a very good character for me to write about. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the process. I took my time with it, honestly. I did a lot of research with this Women's Worth series, and I hope the stories, do its justice, and, it suffices, and, to be able to be, a man who attacks these, is not necessarily attacks, more of tackles these social issues. And I don't want to be the guy who just writes about domestic violence, and I don't want to be the guy who just writes about sexual assault, because yes, those are major issues and major social issues that affect women and women's safety and all of those things. But it's time for me to kind of step out of my comfort zone and write a book series that does affect women, but affects women in a bigger, broader light. So, hopefully you guys got a good feel for what went into me writing not just this book, but also the book series. I pretty much created everything on my own, which is the book ideas, the concepts, the synopsis. The book covers are beautiful. I was able to find something really beautiful and nice on Canva, and I was able to make the book covers in different colors. So it's a good feel. It's a feel good series that you guys are gonna really like enjoy if you guys choose to go down the road of checking it out. Not only will there be this podcast, but there's a blogs written about it, and that's going to be an open door to that, and you guys will be able to look at all of the information that I have on my website about it. So with that said, that's my podcast for today. Have a good weekend, everybody. Stay tuned for more content next week. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.